Today we are looking at how to adjust your Callaway Mavrik driver. Now, if you already own one of these, before you ever get to adjusting anything, you've already got the new weight-saving titanium flash face, the bracing and stabilising effect and the strike of the jailbreak bars, and the light triaxial carbon crown, all of which combine to make this already one of the very longest and most forgiving drivers out there. Now, looking at the underside of the head here of the 460cc Maverick driver, you'll see one weight port in the back, and while this is customizable in a fitting environment, the 5 gram weight that's in there already is optimized by Callaway engineers to suit the vast majority of players with a mid-level spin and slight draw profile. So really, there's no need to touch this screw. Having said that, you still have lots of loft and lie adjustability via the Opti-Fit Hosel, which will influence shot shape. So let's look at how we can do that. Now, first of all, let's look at the opening and locking mechanisms of the Hosel screw. Well, to open or loosen the shaft screw, you basically place the wrench into the top of the screw like so and turn anti-clockwise. And to tighten the screw, you do the opposite, you turn it clockwise. Now, these screws are very special. And when fully tightened, they make an audible click to let you know the sleeve is safely locked in place and to avoid over-tightening. So there it is. Now, before we open the driver, let's look at the markings on the Hosel. You'll see here that this is a 9-degree Hosel, and below the number 9 there's a little hyphen line, and at the very bottom there's another little hyphen or dash line there, and in between these two you have a top and bottom cog with letters and numbers. Now, the factory or default setting is S, which means stated loft, on the lower cog, in this case 9 degrees, and N for neutral on the upper cog. Now, the golden rule when adjusting the Opti-Fit Hosel is to have these little lines lined up at all times. So let's go ahead and open the shaft screw. I usually hold it with my thumb and forefinger nice and solid like this. And when fully opened, the head can easily be removed from the shaft. Like so. And you'll notice the top and bottom cogs can turn independently of each other. And these indicate some of the different loft and lie options you can choose. You can actually add up to 2 degrees of loft, and you can go 1 degree lower. And then for each loft, you can choose an N for neutral and a D for draw setting. And the key to setting up the Opti-Fit Hosel is to focus on finding your desired loft first. It's quite strange, but it's part of its ingenuity that S for stated loft and +1 degrees are on the bottom cog, and -1 and +2 are marked on the top cog. So let's say I want to hit this driver a little higher and bring up the spin a little bit. I want to add 1 degree of loft. So I go to the bottom cog, I find 1 degree, with a little, line it up with a little hyphen, and holding that in place with my fingers, I can now turn the top cog. It's like a little jigsaw. I now see that I have 2 options that fit, N for neutral and D for draw. So if I choose a draw option, I line up this D and reattach the head, ensuring my settings are lined up between the little hyphens. If I wanted to flight the ball a little lower and reduce spin, I can lower the loft by 1 degree. So I would first spin the top cog until -1 lines up with a little hyphen, then spin the bottom cog to choose neutral or draw. Again, they'll fit together like a little jigsaw, and you can pop the head back on, making sure the lines match up and tighten. Again, the key to the Opti-Fit Hosel is to choose your loft first. So that is how to adjust your Maverick driver, and it is worth your while having a play with the different settings on the range to dial in the one that suits you best. As I said, this is already a premium long driver, but by tweaking the loft and the shot shape, you have the ability to make this perform even better for you. And it's very important to remember that you can adjust your driver on the range or any time before or after your round, but just not during it. Now, we also have videos on how to adjust the other drivers in the Maverick family, namely the Sub-Zero and the Maverick Max, so watch out for them too. And if you enjoy this video, please, of course, press like and subscribe to the Golf Bidder YouTube channel, and follow us across Facebook, Twitter and Instagram to keep up to date with the very latest. From me for now though, it's Donal, out.